Think 9mm is too weak? Or believe 45 automatic Colt pistol will knock someone flat with one shot like in the movies? Yeah, we've all heard those debates. The gun community loves arguing about the ultimate caliber. But here's the thing. Most of what you've been told, totally off base. I've tested hundreds of rounds in ballistic gel and pored over real-world shooting data. And what I've found will flip your understanding of defensive ammo on its head. Let's get one thing straight. The most dangerous bullet in America isn't the one hyped up on gun forums or pushed by that overconfident guy behind the counter at your local shop. By the time you finish this video, you'll have a crystal clear understanding of what makes a bullet actually stop a threat when it matters most. So make sure you hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because honestly, this info could make all the difference one day. What makes a caliber truly dangerous? Let's talk big bore revolvers. When folks think deadly calibers, they imagine hand cannons, giant revolvers with monstrous recoil and absurd muzzle energy. The .44 Magnum, for example, launches a 240-grain bullet at over 1,300 feet per second, generating around 900 foot-pounds of energy. Then there's the top 454 Casull, pushing 300-grain rounds up to 1,600 feet per second, topping 1,600 foot-pounds. Sounds impressive, right? It is, but here's the kicker. That level of firepower solves a problem most of us don't have. These rounds were designed for hunting, not personal defense. The recoil? Brutal. Follow-up shots? Nearly impossible under pressure. And let's not forget over penetration. These bullets can tear through walls, cars, and anything else in their way, putting innocent bystanders at serious risk. The guns chambered for these rounds are big, heavy, and usually only hold 5 or 6 shots. The reality is, you don't need that much power to stop a human threat. In fact, using excessive force can land you in more legal trouble than you ever planned for. That's why military and law enforcement agencies around the world have been shifting toward more manageable rounds, like the 9mm. They're easier to control, offer higher magazine capacity, and significantly reduce the chance of over-penetration. When you dig into the real-life shooting data, one thing becomes clear. Shot placement and bullet performance matter way more than sheer size or recoil. Forget the myths. Ballistics is a science, not a popularity contest. The FBI figured that out the hard way after the disastrous 1986 Miami shootout. Since then, they've led the charge in studying what actually stops a violent attacker. The first requirement? Penetration. A defensive round must reach vital organs to have any chance at quickly incapacitating someone. That means it has to go at least 12 to 18 inches deep in calibrated ballistic gelatin, accounting for thick clothing, arms in the way, and awkward angles. Next comes the wound cavity. Hollow point bullets are engineered to expand on impact, increasing their diameter and tearing through more tissue. But there's a catch. If they expand too quickly, they won't reach deep enough. If they expand too little, they don't cause enough damage. This is why good defensive ammo costs more than your standard range stuff. It's built to walk a tightrope of performance. And here's where consistency matters. It's not enough for a round to work in perfect conditions. It has to work through real barriers, like denim, drywall, car glass, or whatever else you might face. Top-tier defensive rounds go through rigorous testing to make sure they'll perform when it counts. Cheap hollow points? Not so much. Now let's bust some of the biggest myths around common calibers. The 9mm used to get a bad rap as weak or underpowered. But with today's bullet tech, it meets or even beats FBI performance standards. It kicks less, lets you shoot faster, holds more rounds, and costs less to train with. That's why more and more pros are sticking with it. Then there's the .45 ACP, built over a century ago for full metal jacket bullets in wartime. Sure, it made sense back when ammo didn't expand at all. But in 2025, modern hollow points have leveled the playing field. All you're left with is heavier recoil, fewer rounds, and bulkier guns, without a big gain in effectiveness. What about .40 Smith & Wesson? It was supposed to be the perfect compromise after the Miami shootout, but many agencies found it snappy, harder to control, and more expensive. Most of them are now going back to 9mm, thanks to better performance and higher hit rates under stress. And here's the kicker FBI data shows. There's no statistically significant difference in stopping threats when comparing modern defensive loads across common service calibers. The real difference? Shot placement and penetration. Let's cut through the noise. Two things make a bullet effective in the real world: how far it penetrates and how much damage it causes on the way in. FMJ rounds full metal jackets go deep, but they don't expand. That's fine for the military or target shooting, but for self-defense? Not so much. These rounds often pass straight through a threat, putting others in danger and wasting their energy. Jacketed hollow points, on the other hand, are designed to mushroom out inside the target. That means wider wound tracks, more internal trauma, and less chance of over-penetration. High-speed rounds can also cause a temporary cavity, a violent stretching of tissue that adds to the damage. But performance can vary depending on barriers. Thick clothing can clog up a hollow point. Glass or bone can cause it to deform in unexpected ways. That's why modern ammo is tested against all of these challenges to ensure it performs under pressure. Now let's talk innovation. One of the biggest advances in recent years: fluted solid copper rounds like those from Lehigh Defense. Instead of relying on expansion, these bullets use specially engineered flutes to redirect fluid and tissue outward, creating devastating wound channels without changing shape. Their extreme defense and extreme penetrator lines prove that small calibers can still hit hard. For example, their .32 ACP fluted rounds achieve 13 inches of penetration, with massive cavitation even from tiny pocket pistols. This tech is redefining what adequate really means in small calibers. And because they don't rely on expansion, these bullets keep working even through heavy fabric or barriers that would defeat traditional hollow points. It's not just about brute force anymore, it's about smart design. It's not just the bullet, it's you. All this tech is great, but here's the truth. None of it matters if you can't shoot well under pressure. Your skill, your training, and your ability to stay calm are what really save lives. A well-placed 9mm to the vital zone is far more effective than a wild .45 shot that misses the mark. Studies consistently show that shot placement is the biggest factor in stopping a threat, not caliber, not muzzle energy, not brand name. And the better you can manage recoil, the better you'll perform under stress. That's why many experts prefer calibers that balance power with controllability. So what's the deadliest bullet in America? It's not a specific caliber or some magic round. It's the one you can shoot accurately, quickly, and confidently, loaded with defensive ammo that meets real-world performance standards. That's the round that could save your life.